The Caldwell Police Department smelled the same way it always had. Burnt coffee, cigarette ash, and the particular sourness of too many men in wool suits sharing too little ventilation. The building was 3 stories of limestone that had been impressive, once back when the city had money and optimism in equal measure. No, the plaster was cracking along the ceiling of the main hall and the overhead lights flickered when the heating kicked in, and nobody had gotten around to fixing either, because nobody ever got around to fixing anything in a building full of men whose job was other people's problems. I knew every face on the floor. Most of them looked away when I came through. That was fine. I was used to it. Hobart's office was at the end of the 2nd floor corridor. His name was stenciled in black letters on the frosted glass. Chief Raymond Hobart. No flourishes. The man didn't believe in flourishes. I knocked twice and went in without waiting. He was behind his desk reading something and he didn't look up. That was his opening move in any conversation he didn't want to have. Raymond Hobart was a big man running to heavy, close-cropped gray hair, a jaw like poured concrete. His uniform was immaculate despite the hour. Past midnight, and the man looked like he'd just dressed for inspection. He had the particular stillness of a man who had learned long ago that controlled stillness made other men uncomfortable. He used it deliberately and well. The office smelled of his pipe. On the wall behind him were commendations and citations going back 20 years. On his desk, a photograph of himself shaking hands with the mayor. No family photos. I'd never asked about that. I sat down in the chair across from him without being invited. He turned a page. "Hey, Chief," I said. "Can we talk about the Whitfield case?" "No." He turned another page. "The mother came to see me last night?" "I know." "Then you know she is not letting this go." People in her situation rarely do. He set the papers down and looked at me for the first time with the expression he reserved specifically for conversations with me. Somewhere between irritation and the particular weariness of a man who has been dealing with the same persistent problem for years. "Whatever she is paying you, Warren, it isn't enough to make this worth your time. I am not here about money. You are always here about something. What do you want?" I leaned forward in the chair. "You are short-handed. I can see it from the floor. Half those desks are empty, and the ones that aren't are buried. The Whitfield case is 11 days cold and going colder. I have time and I have particular experience with cases that don't follow conventional lines. I spread my hands. We collaborate quietly, share what we find. Everybody is happy. A mother gets answers. You close a case, I get paid. Nobody loses." He looked at me the way a man looks at something he stepped in. "I don't collaborate with crooks, Warren Chief." I kept my voice even. "That boy has been gone 11 days. 11. You have nothing, and we both know it. No. Imagine it happens again. Another child. Then another. This city will come apart, and when it does, the mayor's office will be looking for somewhere to point the blame, and this department will be very convenient." I picked up my hat from my knee and stood slowly. "You know, the Caldwell Gazette has been sniffing around the story. I happen to know a man there who owes me a favor. Maybe I'll stop by his office, see if he has heard anything useful about the case. Fresh eyes and all that." I moved toward the door. "If you'll excuse me, Warren." I stopped. Didn't turn around immediately. Let it sit for a moment. "Sit down." I turned and sat. Hobart opened his desk drawer and produced a manila folder thin enough to be insulting. He set it on the desk between us but kept 2 fingers on it. "You get what is in here and nothing else. You don't contact my officers directly. You don't represent yourself as having departmental cooperation, and whatever you find comes to me first before you do anything with it." His eyes were flat and certain. "Those are the terms. You don't like them, you know where the door is." I took the folder. The contents were sparse. 3 photographs of the Whitfield house exterior, a hand-drawn sketch of Tommy's bedroom, a list of interview, summaries written in the compressed shorthand of a detective who expected nobody else to read his notes. I read through it twice, while Hobart watched me with the expression of a man, regretting a decision he'd already made. The father, David Whitfield, worked in real estate, commercial property, mid-sized operation on the east side of Caldwell. Competitive business, apparently. 2 rivals had been undercutting his contracts for the better part of a year. A third had filed a legal dispute over a property sale the previous spring. The department had looked at all 3, looked and moved on. Kidnapping a man's child over a commercial dispute was possible in the abstract and implausible in the specific. These were businessmen, angry ones perhaps, but businessmen. Then the last page, the uncle, I said, Gerald Whitfield, David's father's brother, found dead on Renner Boulevard 5 days ago. Hobart's voice was careful in the way voices get careful around facts that don't fit. In the middle of the street, wounds consistent with a fall from significant height, suicide. That was the first red. He picked up his pipe from the ashtray, looked at it, put it back down. The building directly across has a rooftop, 7 stories. The trajectory was consistent with that height. A pause. Except nobody saw Gerald Whitfield enter that building. No, the super, not the tenants. Not a soul on Renner Boulevard that night. The front door was locked from the inside when we arrived. The service entrance likewise. He paused again. The rooftop access has a padlock. It was intact, undamaged, still locked when my men got up there. I set the folder down. So he fell from a roof he had no access to, I said. From a building nobody saw him enter. Last confirmed sighting was at the Whitfield house. He'd been there since the afternoon helping his brother make sense of the boy's disappearance. Family trying to do what families do. Hobart drew on the pipe slowly. Nobody saw him leave. The Whitfields assumed he'd let himself out quietly during the night. People do that. A pause. Next morning, a beat cop finds him in the middle of the street on Renner Boulevard, 6 blocks away, opposite direction from his apartment on Kellner Street. The office was very quiet for a moment. Nobody heard him leave, I said. Nobody heard anything. Hobart's voice was flat, same as the boy. I let that sit where it landed. The expression on his face, I said. What did the examining officer note? Hobart looked at me steadily across the desk. Terror, he said flatly. His words, not mine. I closed the folder slowly. A boy vanishes from a locked room on the 2nd floor. His uncle sits with the family through the night, helping and grieving, and somewhere between darkness and dawn, he ends up dead on a street 6 blocks away, under a roof nobody can place him on. Nobody heard either of them leave. The same house, similar circumstances, the same silence. I'll go to the Whitfield house tomorrow, I said. Talk to the neighbors. Look at the boy's room again. You won't find anything we haven't already found. Probably not. I stood and put my hat on. Thank you, Chief. He didn't respond. Already looking back at his papers. The conversation was over the moment he decided it was over. That was Hobart's way. I let myself out into the corridor and stood for a moment in the flickering light, listening to the sounds of the department around me. Typewriters, a telephone ringing unanswered somewhere, someone arguing on the floor below in a language I didn't recognize, the ordinary noise of a building full of people working through ordinary problems with ordinary tools. I walked to the staircase and went down slowly. Gerald Whitfield never left that house. No, through any door anyone saw. No, through any window anyone heard. He was there, and then he wasn't, and then he was dead on Renner Boulevard in circumstances that had no business making sense. Salmo as the boy, I pushed through the front door into the night and stood on the limestone steps. The street was quiet. Somewhere down the block, a dog was barking at something it couldn't see. I lit a cigarette and stood there long enough for the cold to settle into my coat. 2 people left that house without leaving it. One of them was 7 years old, and somewhere I couldn't find him yet. The other one was dead. I turned up my collar and walked into the dark.